Hi everyone, how are you? How are you? Nice to see you people. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Vesele Vánoce, Feliz Navidad. Pre-Feliz Navidad? Pre-Feliz, no, I was looking up for the Greek version. Karahestuyana, hi internet, how are you? This is gonna be our last class before the Christmas break. For those that are not in the Northern Hemisphere, yes, they have winter breaks. What? Super weird for us in the Southern Hemisphere. So welcome everybody. Hi, how are you people? How is the end of the year coming? Crazy good, a lot of freedom, right? You don't know what to do anymore, yeah. It's kind of an issue. So I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna go for the document of our class that I hope you have access, and the streaming is also fine. The Advanced Web Attacks, lesson number 13. This is gonna be the first year ever that we do the Advanced Web class, because web is such a large topic that we always wanted more, and so this is gonna give it the try. Wait for me, don't move, something move. Wait, come on, give me something. We lost connectivity to our, I wanna connect back again. Come on, come on. No, something. Wait for me. Oh, no, now it's coming, something is coming. No? Oh, yes, it's moving. Okay, so Advanced Web Attacks, the one where we eat all the cookies, December 19, 2024. And this is gonna be a special class because we are gonna have one large topic, Advanced Web Attacks, with 2 teachers. So this is a very experimental class, new topics, 2 teachers teaching together. We are going to be talking in parallel. No, we are going to be doing one after the other. So let's see how it goes out. You have there all the credits and all the links like always. There you go. And we are going to start with the results from survey of the last class. How was the tempo? 20 responses. Thank you very much. People here are on the internet for answering. Too fast, I got lost. Some people too slow, maybe 1 or 2, and for the majority was all right. So we are gonna kind of keep the tempo a little bit, maybe slow down a little bit, but not so much, okay? So we have a lot of Parish notices, exams and bonus announcements. So for online students, please start the class number 13 now. It's gonna take maybe minute and a half, but just to be sure, if you're using the Stratosphere Cyber Lab, please go and click, and you will see something like that. Look at that! What? It's Christmas all over the hacking space. Yeah, you cannot stop this forever, so it's gonna be there. Now you can click here in the top. Look at that. No snow. What? So you can watch this one, and I think that more features may be coming later. So online student, please start. CTU students, the bonus assignment will open on December the 20th. That's tomorrow at 9 p.m. Okay, 9 p.m. More information about the bonus we're gonna be at the end of the class. End of the class, we have a section for questions about the bonus assignment, okay? So get ready. The exam dates, reminder, they're here. I'm not sure if you can already register or then.
Yes, you can already register in COS. So we have already like 20 people registered for the first term. So those are the dates, they're available. You can pick any of them or all of them, up to you. More in the bonus section, actually.
Bonus section, perfect. And then assignments 6 to 10 are gonna close on January the 8th at 23 hours 59. So if you still have to do these assignments, be mindful that they're gonna end in January, okay? And then we have prizes for the best and the fastest pioneers. Oh, go.
That's something we're gonna do the next class, so after the Christmas and New Year holidays. So basically, we're gonna do kind of two types of prizes. One is going to be for the fastest solver, so the first person to solve all the assignments is kind of the fastest one. So if you have solved all the assignments so far, the first person that solves the assignment that will be released today is technically going to be the winner of this one. But also we want to award the people who showed some consistency, you know, always being, you know, in these top 3 Pioneer Prize winners. So we will calculate your points, basically how many third places you have, how many second, how many first. You will be awarded, there's this like point scale, and then we will see who was the assignment master overall, or champion, let's say.
And there is a huge math behind the counting of the points. There is science going on there. So we will see how we count that, and we will open later. And also you have the social engineering points. If you remember, those are going to be added after the Pioneer Prizes. So we are not moving in the scale of the CTFD, okay? But don't worry, we are counting on those. So the class outline is going to be how to analyze the security of a web page, session cookies analysis, open redirect analysis, server-side request forgery, XML injection, insecure direct object references, and I think that's it. So a lot of things we have planned for today. It's quite packed, it's quite advanced, so get into the mood, okay? Sharp, get everything ready so we can do this last class of the year. So the goal after the class of web that we have last week with Lucas, the goal is not so much to teach you new techniques. We are going to see new techniques are going to be very nice, but it's not so much about those new techniques. It's about the experience of doing a penetration test to a web page that is different from just solving a challenge in a CTF. It's different from going and finding a flag in some place. So we want to kind of transmit this idea that if you are analyzing a web page, there is a little bit more to do, and a lot is going on behind the scenes, especially if you are reading about the write-ups of CTFDs and how the people is solving stuff. They never put the amount of hours that they are trying things that are not working. So we need to kind of get into this advanced topic. We are going to be using tools. I'm going to try to show it. So how to analyze the security of a web page. And we already saw in the class 12, right, the penetration of a web page you were doing. It's hard. And mostly it's hard because you have so many things. You have like JavaScript and CSS and binaries and bash, and then you have connections and databases, and then you have different languages, and then you have like third-party websites and authentication, and every website is completely different from the next one. So every time you try a website, you need to analyze it all over again. So there is a huge complexity in here. That's why when you are doing pen testing in the web, usually like 80% of the people, maybe more, does it by hand. Yes, you use tools, you can use SQL map, but doing by hand is the best way. So you need to be paying attention, you need to be methodological in here, and there is a lot of creativity. This is a place where you are like, there is no like a set of rules to follow anymore. You have to go with your intuition, you have to go and explore. For a lot of people, actually, this is an art. And they're talking about web pen testing or pen testing in general as an art, okay? And I think that at some moment this is true. So, as many other arts in the world, you should know the tools that you are using. So we are going to be using the best tools that we know for doing this type of work in real life. You need to practice a lot. You need to practice to know what to expect, how it's going on, gain that experience. You need to spend time thinking, trying to solve the problem, and then learning from this experience. So when you go to the next site, you are a little bit faster, okay? So if you master this analysis of web pages, I would say that you are halfway into the mastering web pen testing in general, okay? So there are many resources on this. Personally, we like to. The people from Portswigger, it's like one of the best companies doing web pen testing, I believe, and the creators of Burp proxy that we are going to be using, and they know so much. Go check the articles. They are publishing new techniques very often. They're crazy. And personally, I like the Art of Intrusion book from Kevin, that he's actually not only showing real hacks in life, but you will have this feeling of how this is more than an art of like a science, okay? So let's start by setting up the OWASP Juicy Shop, similar that you did in the last class, okay? we are going to be using the same type of infrastructure. So let's repeat the process during the class. If you remember, we are going to be using SSH-L. We were not exactly sure how many of you understood how this works. So any questions about how the SSH-L works? What is it doing? No questions? Internet? Remember that the best way of solving security problems and problems in general in life related to hacking is to understand completely what you are doing, the technique, the solution, the protocol, right? So if you know exactly what it's doing, it's going to be much better. So any question, tell us. We are going to be creating a tunnel that we are going to be connecting to your servers, and we are going to be redirecting a port in your local computer to some other port in the remote address, okay? So you're going to have a port in your computer that when you connect, everything goes into the SSH to the remote server and then redirect to a port there. So for CTU students, from your computers, not from your Dockers, from your computers, you can do the SSH and completely connect to this redirection into the juice shop, 1, 2, or 3, exactly like you did last time. So I'm gonna be, this is gonna be juice, let me see. Yeah, I have something here to test. Yeah, I think this is mine. Now I have a tunnel and it's working, okay? And for the online students, you can do exactly the same. Once you start the class, once you have the class here started, then you can do exactly the same with SSH into your Docker from your host computer, okay? So I will give you 30 seconds for you to complete, and you have your tunnel up. Internet, you fine? You have your tunnel. And of course, you can check that everything is working by going to localhost 30,000. I'm not sure it's going to work for me. Yeah, there you go. So work for me, okay, by going to localhost 30,000. So let's start now that this is working on the way we are going to be analyzing. So when you're analyzing web traffic in real penetration test, you need to use a proxy. Can you do it by hand? Yes, probably you can do it with curl or tool, but it's going to be very, very, very slow. You need a nice tool that helps you understand the complexity of the site, and that means using a proxy in the middle. So what we are going to be using is this type of setup. So you're going to be here in the middle, and then you have your browser. So this is in your computer. You are going to be connecting to a special extension in your browsers. We are using Foxy Proxy. You can use whatever you like if you know your extensions. And Foxy Proxy is going to send stuff to the internet, normally, like Google. But then we are going to configure Foxy Proxy to send the Juicy Shop into Burp. Burp is going to be the tool that we are going to be using today. The proxy tool is going to be called Burp, okay? Which is the proxy? Burp. Foxy Proxy is just a redirector, okay? And then Burp is going to connect to the localhost 3000 that you just did a tunnel, and this is going to go remotely in the Dockers and then into the real Juice Shop, okay? Quite complex infrastructure, but understand what's going on. Questions? Perfect. So, Foxy Proxy, the tool to manage the proxies and control what to send to Burp. Burp Suite, a web security testing tool we will use for analysis. Browser, your browser, and the OWASP Juice Shop is the same you used last class. So, you need a browser to send the traffic into Burp proxy, but you don't want to send everything into Burp. Burp is going to be the security analysis tool, so you don't want to send your Gmail into that. It's going to be a mess. That's why we are using Foxy Proxy, right, to do this separation. So, introducing Burp Suite. So Burp is a commercial tool that you can go and download for free. They have a community edition, also they have a paid version, and I will go with the de facto tool for web penetration testing. Like, all the people I know, when I was doing before and others, that they're doing web penetration testing for real, they are using Burp. Can you use others? Yes, of course you can use others. Like, we have others like Zap, very famous, or Kaido, a recent one that I still didn't try, and there are many others. But when the people is doing this, including large sites and doing a lot of automation, the preferred tool is Burp. So let's go and install it. If you don't have it, so go and download the Burp Community Edition, please, everyone online and here, and install it in your computer. I will give you some time for this. So we'll wait for you. Yes, and for Linux user, please use sudo when running the installer. Thank you very much, Mari. I will give you some time, and in the meantime, I'm gonna delete everything I have in Burp because it's not good. Sorry? Where is the sequential? Can you tell me? Or in Element?
Yes, in Element they say, would it not be easier to just use the built-in browser instead of Foxy Proxy?
Built-in browser?
In Burp.
Oh, yeah, we are going to be using it. Yes. But I'm not sure if all the people likes it. I personally don't like it so much, but we are going to be using it. So if you have the built-in browser, you are fine. But the people that not, they can use Foxy Proxy. So we are opening both situations. But it's a good point. Thank you. If you want to use directly the browser inside Burp, that we are going to be doing, you don't need to use Foxy Proxy. So maybe I can continue explaining this. So if it works for you, maybe you don't have to do the installation. But I will wait for you to install Burp. You ready? Need more time? Probably not. How are you people? More time or you are fine? Fine? Fine. There, everyone? Fine? Can we continue? Yes? Perfect. So let's go into setting up Burp. Start Burp. I will have it here. I will go to the dashboard. Oh yeah, I have a lot of stuff. Let me just try to take this out. I don't want to go there, and I want to. Okay. I will just go into here and ignore here this so I don't start it again. But when you start Burp, you are going to have a window saying if you want a temporary project, you say yes, because we are not paying for this one. And then you click on the default and Burp should start, okay? So when you get into Burp, you have different tabs. Here you can see dashboard and target and proxy and intruder. I think this is too small. So if you give me 1 second, I need to change the fonts for this. So what about something like 24? I will go, this is a message editor, and the display, no. And the display is gonna be, what about 24? Is it better? Okay, there you go. If not, you tell me. So you have proxy and intruder and repeater and collaborator and sequencer. So these are all things that you can do. So let's see a little bit what's going on here. You have the main place to see the tasks. That's the dashboard, the first one. And here you have an idea what's running, what's not running, a summary of all the tasks that you are going on. You should not have anything here in the middle. You would have a default task that is to have passive crawling, which means everything going through the proxy, just analyze it. That's the only task we have here, task number 1, and that's enough. The second one, that is the target, is all the information about the web application, such as the scope. So what Burp can do is that you define this site is in my scope. I'm only going to test this site. That means that any other website going through Burp, even by mistake, it's not going to be shown to you. And this is so good because you avoid mistakes like testing sites that you should not, okay? So whatever is in scope, we are going to be adding in here. So you have a sitemap and other things. Now it's empty. The proxy one is the one we are going to be setting up next, is how you set up proxy in Burp. Intruder is the one that we automate the trial. So this tool lets you do a lot of automation, like take this field and just try all the integer numbers up to 1000. Take this other field and change it into different versions of XMLs, whatever. So in the free version, there is a limitation in the rate. You can send something like, I don't know, 1 request per second or something. But if you pay, you can do this very fast, okay? So that's the intruder. And then we have repeater. That's going to be the tool that mostly we are going to be using today, that takes a web request and allows you to completely repeat it, and you can change and modify in real time, which is awesome, right? And much better than in a browser. Then we have the collaborator, right? Here is like you can work with out-of-band server injections. We are not going to be doing this one, but this is generating tokens like domains, right? Remember, like something like honey tokens, and then you can test and see if the application accepted or not. You have the sequencer that is analyzing the randomness of every cookie and session ID ever. So you have statistical properties for cracking. You have a decoder, which is actually very similar, small but similarish in the way that CyberChef, you can decode and encode. You have the comparer, which is a very nice tool that you have 2 requests or 2 answers, and you can see exactly what changed from one to the other, and it's making the analysis so much better. Then you have the logger to log everything in some place, the organizer, which actually you can even annotate the request, and you can put notes and everything, like small documents. And then you have extension from the community. There are many, many, many. Some you need a paid version, some you can do in the free one. We are not going to be using extensions today. So, how to configure Burp as a proxy? So, let's go to the proxy tab. So, please go to the proxy tab. You should see this. HTTP history is empty, okay? And we are going to be going to the intercept subtask, and be sure intercept is off. On, off, be sure is off. Intercept means that every request going through Burp, it will be stopped, and you can modify in real time, like in man in the middle. So this is awesome, but not for today. So you can stop the request, change something, and then resend. That's the interception. We are not going to be doing it. And then go to proxy settings. Here, proxy settings. And in proxy settings, we are going to be setting up a proxy. And the proxy is going to be one of the proxy listeners, okay? So proxy listeners, in here I have one. I will try to make this a little bit better. I have one. So you can click on this one and then click on edit. So we are going to be editing it. And in the edition, you have to choose port 8081, please. 8081, not 8080, because the Stratosphere Cyber Lab is using 8080. So you cannot have both. 8081, okay? And then we are going to be clicking OK, being sure that's enabled. Disable, enable, disable, enable. Be sure that that's enabled, and that's it. We can close this proxy. Now that we have the proxy set up and listening, we need to set up the logging. What's the logging? Well, in the free version, we cannot backup or store or export data. So the moment you close Burp, you're going to be losing everything, okay? A small trick here is that we can force Burp to log every request and response to disk. So we are going to be using a file to have a log of everything we send, okay? The good thing about this file is that you can go back in time and check whatever you send, right, and stuff like that. You need to monitor how many requests you send to the target, right? You don't want to send 100,000 million requests. Yeah, never leave your tool unattended, please. So you may be legally required to show what you send, especially in a pen test. So always have records of your work. If anything fails or crashes, then you need to know exactly what you sent. They're going to say, oh, what did you send that you crash everything? Well, you need to know. So you cannot go back and click in the console so much, right? And this is your backup too. So how we are going to be doing the logging? We are going to be configuring the logging in Burp settings. So click on logger, please, first. Logger. Don't mind my things in the middle. You're going to have them zoomed too. Logger. And then you click on Settings, top right, Settings. Settings. And in the settings, we are going to search for logging. Search for logging. Okay? Oh, without the single quotes. And when you click on project login, you should have this list of options. Okay? Logging. And then you click on request. So you should not have this. It should be like this. So when you click on request, there's going to be a pop-up window that you choose where to store this log. So I'm going to store this in BSY class burp.log. Okay? So you create your own file and you click save. And then you also click on responses. We want both. Okay, internet. I'm going to give you some seconds to do this. Okay. If you have questions, internet, you can tell us. So up to this point, we install and configure Burp suite to inspect and log traffic received by the Burp proxy, okay? Nothing more. We are setting up stuff. Next step is going to be, okay, configure your browser to send traffic to Burp. So remember, as somebody from the internet, I don't know, was saying, we are going to have two options, okay? So the first option is to use the built-in Chromium browser that is inside Burp. So you can try this. If you are in Burp, let's close this. And if you go, for example, to, where can I go? Proxy history, right? If you go to proxy history, you may have a button that says open browser. Okay? Proxy HTTP history. If you click the button and a new Windows appear for you, that's fine. You can use Chromium and you are good to go. Okay? If not, in some system this is not working for you, well, then we need to configure Foxy proxy. Okay? So, for Linux user, this may not work. Yeah. With the sudo should work. Everything work? Yes, everyone? Perfect. Internet, we have this. No issue. Okay, so if everyone is okay with this, maybe I can skip over the Foxy proxy installation because it is a little bit tedious and we are not going to be using it. Just in case, if you in the future want to use your normal browser, you can use the Foxy proxy for managing your proxies, okay? So in the first one, we are going to be doing open the browser, right like now. And in the browser, actually, we can test to see if you can see the localhost 3000. So go to the Chromium that you just opened, put localhost 3000. If you can see a web page, it means that everything works. You have the Chromium going through Burp, going through the tunnel, going to SSH, going to Juicy proxy. Everyone can see it? Yes? Online people? Perfect. So we are in a good place. I like it. In the second method, I will leave it for whoever needs it. We actually download and install Foxy proxy for Firefox or Chrome, and then we configure it to receive proxies. But nice that I don't have to go through this, except if anyone has any issue, okay? The important part of Foxy proxy is to use the pattern, so some things are going through Foxy proxy and some are not. Okay? I will just skim through this, and then at the end you should test up here. So up to this point, we are just configuring our browsers to work with Burp to inspect, intercept, and modify all the traffic. Okay?
So the difference on why would you use Foxy proxy instead of the built-in
the built-in Chromium?
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually. I would say that I prefer my own browsers. I control them. I can put things in Foxy proxy. I can see what's going on around. I like Chromium too, but kind of, maybe I have special extensions, right, or things like that. And I usually like my own browsers.
Yeah.
Apart
So
from
also
that,
the
probably nothing.
Everything that goes through the Chromium gets proxied, right?
Yes.
So when you have a Foxy proxy or any other browser proxy plugin or something like that, you can have like this fine-grained control on what exactly goes to a proxy, and then you can have more control. When you use a built-in, everything you go do there is going to be proxy, and sometimes it kind of pollutes the whole burp, right?
And of course, all your normal things like Gmail, please don't use Chromium for that. Okay, ready then? Can we start analyzing web applications? Oof, a lot of setup, but remember, knowing your tools is the beginning. You need to have all your tools set up. When you're playing CTFs online, also you do that, right? You go to the CTF with everything ready, Linux, Windows ready, Macs ready, all the Dockers, all the Kalis installed, running, updated, right? You need to do that, right? If not, you're gonna be losing something. So, the analysis of web pages usually requires some methodology, right? You cannot just go and click on some things and then say, I found this and that's it. Remember, in a pen test, you need to report all the vulnerabilities. And the client is expecting you to report all the vulnerabilities. And there are two problems here. First, you are not sure if you found everything. They are trusting your experience, and that's why you are charging money for this. But you can be wrong, right? And this can be a legal issue. So imagine that you do a pen test and then you miss something, and the next day they are attacked using this vulnerability and they lost money. So there's a legal border in here that is you should have found, but the pen tests have some limitations. We cannot find everything. So having a good contract with your client is critical here, okay? And knowing what you are doing. So anyway, we need a methodology to find as much and not losing anything in the middle. So we are gonna be trying to cover this in the class. Be careful that Burp can send a lot of requests. You may not see this, and this is an issue with people that is starting, that you go, you click intruder, maybe you have the paid version, you say, yeah, go try, and they are gonna send thousands and thousands of requests. And this is not the best for a lot of reasons. The first one is that the best pen test is the one that nobody realizes is happening. So the best one is the one that you go there, hey, did you like the pen test? And they will say, we didn't notice. If you are scanning a lot and sending a lot and attacking a lot, systems will stop working, computers will be out of memory, and it's not the most professional analysis you can do. The second is that you don't want to do twice the things. If you do an analysis, if you send a request, then be sure that you keep track and record and you can go back and check it. If you keep clicking and sending twice, 3, 4 times, also it's going to be complicated and not the best pen test. So we like the phrase of the quieter you become, the more you're able to hear, not by Ram Dass, but by Kali. And that's actually a nice way to look at how to do pen testings. So let's gonna start in the exploration of this juice shop. But instead of going to the shop with the mentality of, oh, there are some challenges, let me click challenge number 3, whatever, I want to explore the site with the idea that you don't know what it is and you have to find out, okay? So it's going to take a little bit more time. So we are going to start by going, to the site and clicking everything you can. Go into everything that you can interact, all the information you can send, everything, okay? So this is gonna be our first class. In the previous class, we did this a little bit manually. Now we are gonna be going through Burp, okay? And Burp is gonna be keeping a history of this. So in the Chromium browser, now we are here in the browser. Let me close all this because I don't want it. And also, oh, sorry, I was logged in already. There you go. So you're here in the shop, and then, okay, let's click in the products, and then you have reviews. Okay, ups and down. Let's close this review. Let's click in another product, see what you can do. Reviews, I cannot click up or down. Let's close it. I guess the products are going to be very similar, so maybe clicking in 3 or 4 of them is fine. We have here another list in the bottom right of products, okay? So you can go to some other products to see if something is different, exploring the capabilities of the site. Being in a black background is not the best, but I'm not sure if I can change it. So you go, you open the reviews, and you close. Because these actions that they look like JavaScript, and you are open and close, they may be JavaScript, maybe they are not. Maybe they're triggering a connection to the web server. So wherever you can click, you just go, oh, here you have some link. Let's click the link. It's going actually out of Burp. Look at that. It's going to Steam community. So, okay, there is a kind of redirection going out of Steam. Nice. It's good. Yes, yes, yes. Just go back now. So you identify a situation that you're going out of the site. You don't click on Steam. You just keep working and looking. You can open the menu. There is a customer feedback. Sometimes when you do that in a normal web page, you try to ignore this because you have privacy policy, legal stuff. Click on everything. You never know. Actually, look, we have a customer feedback. So it's going to be anonymous. We can leave comments. We can leave ratings. And then you have a CAPTCHA that, oh, it's asking us how much is that one. Oh, how much is that one? I'm not going to compute this. I'm going to ask my computer that is going to tell me that it's 105. Oh, there you go. So 105, and I submit. The feedback was sent. I have no idea what's going on yet, okay? You need to generate all this traffic so we start mapping completely the site. So we have a customer feedback that looks actually dangerous, including information from the customer. You have about us, some image here. We have links, Facebook and others that they look like normal links, so I'm not gonna click. If you see here in the bottom, you have like there are like normal clicks. I'm gonna see the, we have a photo wall with pictures. We have the GitHub. So I click GitHub and it's going to GitHub. But if you pay attention, this is not a normal link. I'm gonna go back. If you see down here, I cannot do this completely, but down there you should see a redirection. Do you see it? In your browser, I cannot zoom in there because if I do the zoom, I'm gonna lose the link. Oh, there. So you have like kind of a redirect to something. So, okay, that's a special thing. Let's gonna see. And now I'm gonna go to account. I'm gonna go to login. I'm gonna try to log in. Remember you did this something like that last class with remember me, nothing, you have the object. And I want to get in, so I'm not a customer yet. So click to be a customer. I'm not a customer. Okay, let's register a customer. So please register a user in the system. You can use any email like aha@aha.com. I'm gonna put a password to my user, and please remember this password. So I'm gonna be putting QWERTY, capital Q, QWERTY, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and shift 1 in my case, because I need characters and ups and downs. So QWERTY, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exclamation mark, okay? And then, yeah, you can have, here is like the checks is doing, contains lowercase digital 8 characters, okay? And then you have a security question. We are your favorite book, and it's gonna be none, or something like that, and register the account, okay? So please register an account with the system. When you're doing a pen test, usually you do several things. You try everything and register accounts and recover passwords, but also you ask 2 official accounts to the client. And these 2 official accounts should be non-privileged. That means that you will log in and you're gonna be a nobody number 1, and then you log in with the other one, it's gonna be a nobody number 2. And you are doing this because later you're gonna test if from one account you can see the other. And for this you need to control both accounts, okay? We are not going to be doing that test here. We're just going to have a registration of one account, okay? So now we are ready to log in. The email was, I don't remember. That was bad. What do you remember what it was? I will go with that. And then QWERTY. I have Burp, 2 story. QWERTY T, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exclamation mark. Let's see if I remember correctly. No, it's invalid. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Burp. Now we can go to Burp together. And if you are in the proxy tab, you should have the HTTP history, okay? The HTTP history will show every request you ever did in this site. So you can click on the request. I'm gonna make this a little bit higher, smaller. And you will see the request here and the response here, okay? So you should be able to see all the responses and all the requests for everything you send. So I'm gonna search for the registration so I can remember my user and password. This is a lot. This is a lot, but I will go to the bottom. There you go. Oh, that's a lot. I don't want to search directly here. Oh, this is GitHub. So let me go and register new ones, and then I can go back. So this one is going to be asdf@asdf.com, and the password is going to be the same as before. QWERTY 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation mark. QWERTY 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation mark. And my security question is going to be mother's maiden name, ASDF, and register. And now I'm going to try to log in, asdf@asdf.com. I have double F. And then QWERTY 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation mark, right? And I'm trying to log in. There you go, I'm logging. Oof, okay? Everybody? Perfect. Now that you're logged in, you can do other things, for example, like trying to see your orders and payments, save databases. We are not going to click in everything, but we are going to be trying different things later on, okay? The important part is that you should click in everything that you have in order to have information about your web page. So after you have all this and you see the history, we are ready to start our analysis. In here, there are many pages shown in Burp, okay? So this is a method and that's a URL. There are two big problems right now. The first one is that we have a lot of GitHub user content. I'm not sure if you have that. So we are going to learn how to ignore those later. But for now, take a look at what information was being sent, right? So we have the URLs. We have if it was using parameters or not, right? If it was edited or not, the status, the length, and everything. So which requests do you believe are a little bit more interesting for you in this send? So for example, here in my history, I have this request on top and this request at the bottom right now. So which ones do you think are a little bit more interesting for you? Just in general. API. What is API? This one. So exactly like what is like API, if you pay attention, you are marked that is using parameters. Everything that is using parameters, even in post or in get, is an opportunity for you to modify. So these are the ones that probably you should focus first your attention. The other ones, you will focus your attention, but they are less important, okay? So someone that here you have the user login, security answers. What else is calling your attention? Tell me what you see here that maybe is interesting. What is like in your analysis? I'm not going through the Steam. I'm just staying in the local host. So what do you see here that is like kind of, Nothing calling your attention? No? Did you click on something? Everything is the same? Something good? Remember your goal, right? You are trying to analyze the security of a web page, which means you need to find vulnerabilities. You need to exploit. You need to break. You need to make mistakes, right? Make errors. extract information, steal information, find things that you don't want. So for example, in my mind, we have something called /rest admin application configuration. That sounds interesting. Knowing the configuration of the application in the admin folder, it's kind of important, right? So if you see the request, this is a little bit big. So if you see the request, you have the get, you have the host, you have some headers that I don't know, macOS, we have an authorization bearer, cookie, or token, a lot of headers in the, even we have the X-user email with an email from the admin in case we want to comply or we want to say something. We have more cookies. And in the answer panel, you have, in this case, not modify, which means, well, yeah, whatever you're asking, you already asked and it's in the cache, so has not been modified. This is not the first time that we're asking about it. So how do you see this? Let's gonna jump into the repeater. When you have a tool, like a request like that, in order to modify and play with it, you can, in this panel or in the line, right-click and see that you have a link to send to repeater. So right-click, send to repeater. Please do that. And you will see the repeater, it's now in red, the repeater tab. So once you are there, you click repeater, and you should have this in your window. And I'm going to close the rest so you don't get confused, because I was repeating before. Do you see this? Everyone? So you have now a window with all the information of the request, and we want to actually send this. So that is the button send. You click send, and you are sending right now again, and you are interacting with the application. This is kind of the browser, but you are sending by hand, and you are able to change information. So what does it mean, not modify? Who can tell me? What does it mean, 3 or 4, not modify? Cache, okay? Everyone understand this? You're asking the web server, and the web server says, I already sent you this information, so it's not necessary to send you again. You can go and check whatever you have in memory, and the browser will say, oh, you're right, I have this in my cache. So this works using a specific cookie or token or header called if non-match. If you go to the bottom of the request, you will see if non-match and some tag. That information there is the E tag. And if you look to your right to the response, you will see a header called E tag. That is, let's say, the electronic identification tag for this specific resource. So when these two values match, it means I already have this. So the cache is not going to be to me. So how we force this request without doing the match? Well, you delete the if not match. So completely delete with your keyboard. And then you send again, and look at that. Now we have the whole information, okay? So please do that very fast, delete something, send again, and see what's happening. This is the basic way that you can modify whatever you want, click send, and just explore. Are you breaking? Are you exploding? Are you stopping working? Are you giving some error? You need to explore the boundaries, okay? Stop thinking of a web page like something that you go and use like Gmail. You need to start thinking about all the technology behind and the borders, the things that are going to make it break. Okay? This is the mark of a good analyst. Make it break. Make it have errors. Make it go and do things that I was not think to do. Don't be the normal user. So when we do that, now we have some headers and payment self and other things, and then we have a configuration, right? Oh, the server is running in this port, and the application is called like that. Nothing secret, but it's giving me a lot of information that we didn't have before, like the privacy contact email, the name of the alto coin that is using Juicy Coin, the chatbot, the name of the chatbot, some configurations, nice to meet you, customer. So these are the places that you start analyzing. Oh, there are social sites. We have a welcome banner with a lot of text of what's going to happen in the welcome banner, the cookie consent, the security TXT. So, for example, a way to work with this is that you see, oh, security TXT, we have a contact, an encryption, and then acknowledgements in the scoreboard. So you can realize, oh, for example, there is something called scoreboard. I didn't see a scoreboard before. Did you see a scoreboard before? There was no scoreboard. So you can actually copy this one because you found the reference, and then you can go to Chromium, and then you can just put in Chromium the scoreboard and press enter. And I'm doing it in Chromium because I want you to see the web page, okay? So the moment you do that, actually, one of the most basic challenges in Juicy Shop was to find the scoreboard. So the scoreboard was hidden, and you need to find it. So how do you find it? In this way. You read everything that you can until you find the information, okay? And now you have one of the challenges solved. So in this way, you analyze everything that comes to you, and then you try to see how to attack, what's going on, right? We have a video, where's the video, right? You have an Easter egg plant, some JPEG, Google OAuth, and more and more and more. So this site has, I don't know, 100 challenges, and the challenges are all over the place. So you need to go and understand it. Questions so far? Internet questions? All of these are stored in the file that you put in the logger. So if you go to the logger, even you can do a tail-F, you should see everything going through the proxy. Okay, so yes. So if you go here, oh yeah, sorry. The question is if all the things that we are doing here, we are going to be seeing it or not. I was saying that you can see this in the logger file. If you go to the proxy, you have a tag here called edited. So some of these requests may appear here edited later. So let me see if I have them here. I'm not sure which one it was that I was modifying. Okay, I can see if I have some edited ones. I think I don't have edited ones, yeah. Actually, I'm not sure why this is not appearing here. You don't have edited, yeah, sorry. Well. Could be, right? Yeah. So, not in here. But, okay, we will see later in the target, you have more information there. If you want to go back to the previous things you were doing in the repeater, you can just click here and go back, right? So imagine that now I change this to get, imagine this, get, and I press enter, and it's telling me 200, okay, right? Welcome to Juicy Shop. Well, if I then click back, you see the previous request, okay? So you can have here all the previous requests you were doing. More questions? No? Okay, so the last tab we are going to be using today in Burp is called Target. If you go to Burp Target, you will see actually in your left all the sites that you were asking. And what we want to do is first right click in localhost and be sure that you have in the scope. So add to scope. We want localhost to be in scope. Right click, add to scope. The other sites that we don't want to test, you can actually remove from scope. And also you can delete from here, delete search item, if it's an issue for you because you have too many things, right? So imagine I can go to these ones, remove from scope, and delete search items. You don't need to delete them, but I like to have only one in here. And then when you click, you will see that create for you all the structure of the web page. So, oh, there was a main.js, a JavaScript, and then you can see here all the information that was sent. The some polyfills JavaScript, and here all the content of the JavaScript. And then we have assets, and in assets we have some NJSON, some public images, uploads. So look at this. And we have a weird file name there. This is for analyzing later what's going on, right? And we have main JavaScript, folly JavaScript, more assets, more public, fav icons. So you can actually see all the pieces. Oh, there is a redirect. Remember we saw the redirect? There is a REST. This is the API part. The admin, the basket, the captcha, the products. So in the products, we have 3 products. We saw product number 1 and the reviews, number 3 and the reviews. So by clicking in all the site, you will build this infrastructure tree, and then you can just see, oh, there is a search in here. There is a folder for the user, when a login and a who am I, right? Look at that. We have a who am I, like and socket.io, right? And we have this weird U003, looks like a Unicode folder that was super weird. Look at this, Unicode, so something to analyze. So the fact that we are looking at all this information is giving us the whole picture, okay? The first step is get all the picture, see everything that is happening, and then you can start finding problems and vulnerabilities, okay? So, questions? Internet questions? Okay, let's try to do our first attack of the day. The first way I'm going to be using is analyzing the session cookies. So what are session cookies? Who can tell me? I don't have stuff to give you, but we have... Okay, look at this. GitHub gave us a very nice Dia de Muertos version of the GitHub logo. What? This is so crazy nice. So, for a Dia de Muertos GitHub logo, what are session cookies? Or session cookies. Huh? Ah, yeah, go. I want to repeat that, but that's too much. So, can you repeat it?
So it's a string or kind of secret information which uniquely identifies the user and like the user's connection point probably, so their computer, their session. And if somebody knows this session cookie, session ID, they can impersonate the user and his open session.
Do you agree? Somebody? Yes, that was correct. On topic. No? Yes? Oh, Lucas is like, maybe. Somebody has something more to add? No? Internet? There you go. Look at that Dia de Muertos GitHub that you have there. So, exactly. At some moment in time, when the internet was created, there were no sessions concepts. So you go to a website, you get a web page, and then you leave. Bye-bye, see you later. And then the people needed to actually identify the user. Well, if you are going back and you want to see, you know, there was no buying and selling. There was no products or baskets in that moment. So there was no need to remember you. When the need came, there was no methodology to do that. So we start creating weird things like cookies and then strings sending to the user. So when I want to remember you, the IP address is not enough, your port is not enough, your country is not enough. So I give you a piece of data, a file, a string, and in this cookie, I store information about you. Maybe it's a unique identifier, like a number, maybe it's your email, something. Every website kind of changes a little bit, right? And then you need to send back this to me, so I check that you is you, which you can see is super dangerous, right? Like, because if somebody is stealing that cookie, that's it. And this is straightforward, people. You manage to have the cookie of Facebook of somebody else's browser, you put that cookie in your request, you go to Facebook, and you are the other person. Bye-bye, that's it, right? There is no mystery here. So, very dangerous thing. So, let's analyze how this is working. So, yes. So, we can analyze them and try to exploit it. So make sure that you are logging into the use shop. If you have no user, please go and create a user. Now, let's find a request to the REST user who am I. How do we do that? Well, you can go to Burp, you can go to proxy, you can go to HTTP history, and then you click in filter settings. Filter settings. You click that, and then you will have a small window that you can search for things, like filter by search term. Okay? So if you search here, who am I, for example, and then you click on apply and close, you should see all the requests going to who am I. Could you find them? Everyone? Now that we have this, we need to actually send it to repeater. That for some reason I didn't put it here. Send to repeater. Okay, so I'm gonna choose. So for all of these ones, look, I have one that has a 200 OK, and others that has like the cache issue. So I can click on. Actually, I will click on one with the cache issue, so I solve it again. Oh, sorry. Can you move up? And then I'm gonna click and send to repeater. I'm gonna go to repeater. I have the information here. I will send it, and I will have the not modify again, like we did before. We need to delete this if non-match, and then we send again, and we are gonna have an answer. However, in here, we don't have the cookie that we log in. So be sure that whatever you choose of these ones is after you log in. Oh, like here, I have one with a very nice long authentication token and cookie. So I'm gonna resend this to repeater, and I'm gonna send it again. I have the not modify again, so I need to delete the if non-match. I send it again, and finally I have some good information. Okay? So when you do that, you should end up with a response showing your user ID, your email, your last login IP, and the profile image. Everyone? Yes? You have to have cookies in your requests and not the if non-match. Internet? So once we have this, you need to see where is the information about you. So question for you. Where is the information about your session? Evidently, in our request, so this is our request, in our request, we are sending something that when arrives to the website is able to identify us and say, oh yeah, you are this email, you are this user ID. How? How does the web server knows? Where is that information? In the token. Very nice. So we have actually two, the authorization bearer and we have the cookie. And if you pay attention, these two big chunks are kind of similar. Not completely, but these are similar. So that is some information that we are sending, and that is going to be our session cookie. Okay? So once you identify that, I will take the one in the bottom. So you see here cookie, language, English, welcome manner status, dismiss, cookie consent status, dismiss, continue call something, and then we have token. And in token, we have this bunch of stuff until the end, okay? So I'm gonna copy this one, copy, 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 Command C. And once we have this one, this token, I just put it here in case, we are gonna go to CyberChef to analyze it. If you remember, CyberChef is this web page for analyzing and playing with web data and encryption information. I'm gonna be bigger, 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 bigger. And in here is one of the best tools that we have for analyzing data. So please paste the token in the input. Paste the token in the input. I will give you some seconds to go there. CyberChef, paste the input in there. Oh, there. Okay, that's it. The password was shown. I'm not gonna show it again. Ready? If you don't know CyberChef, you have many hundreds of functions to apply to your data, and you can encrypt, decrypt, analyze entropies like crazy good. The one we are going to be using is called Magic. So go to the search operation, search for Magic, drag and drop in the receipt, and this is going to be magical, and it's going to tell you, oh yeah, I know that format. Actually, it's a GWT decode format. Thank you very much, CyberChef. And what does it mean, GWT decode format? So yeah, you should be able to see that. So JSON Web Token is the format identified. What is a JSON Web Token? Anybody knows? JSON Web Token? Okay, do you agree with Lucas? Yes? No? So, yeah, exactly, it's a way of encoding information and sending in these tokens that mostly used for web, but you can use in any other format. And the magic is that you have some JSON, but you also add two pieces of information about the GWT version and the signature, so you can put this in a very nice base64 format that you transfer, and it's much easier to work with machines. So if you click on the GWT decode, if you click there, you will see that it decoded our cookie. And now we have the complete content of our cookie: status, access, data, ID, user, and email, password. What? Storing your password hash? Probably not a good idea. I will report that as a vulnerability.
Question from the internet is the GWT tokens aren't encrypted?
They are not encrypted. This is not an encryption scheme. They should be signed, which is different. Signed so nobody can modify them. Well, you can modify, but then you are not going to be able to sign again. So the web server will realize that you cannot modify that cookie, right? Ideally, we cannot modify and resend that because it's going to fail. But as you see, we have a lot of information. So now that we have this, all the coded information, we want to modify this JSON. So how do we do that? You can now copy the content to the input. And the best way to do that is to click this button called Replace Input with Output. If you click that, now our JSON is on top. Okay? And the GWT decode is in red because it doesn't work anymore. We cannot decode it, so you can drag and drop out. And what we are going to be doing here is modifying this. We are going to be modifying by hand. So what are we going to be modifying? We are going to be modifying the email parameter to something else. Okay? So we are going to be changing this email to something like new email at email.com or something like that. Okay? Modify this text here in the CyberChef. Once you modify that, now we need to re-encode it. And for that, we are going to be choosing the GWT sign operation. So you go to search again in CyberChef, you put GWT, you have some operations for GWT, and in particular, we are going to drag and drop the GWT sign. When you click on that sign, you have the opportunity to include the signing algorithm and the password. But we are going to try not sign, because we want to check if this is signed or not signed. So you click en no, and now we have a new cookie value here. Okay? Now we have a modified session cookie. You copy this one, copy. Okay? And now that you have that, copy the result, go back to Burp repeater and modify the cookie with this one. So pay attention, in Burp, you need only to modify the token, okay? So select the old one and paste your new one, okay? And then click send, and in the answer, you should see your new email. Does it work? what is there any problem here? And if there was any problem, what was it? Who can tell me? What happened? Was it impressive? Was not? We don't care. We do care. Do we report it as a vulnerability? We don't. Did you get what happened? You didn't. Question time. Yeah. The server didn't verify whether it's a valid account or not. Yes, that's correct. We send a cookie saying, I am a user ID 43 and I have this email. First problem, that when the server, because this is, you understand, right? This is going to the server and then back to you. So the server didn't check if this email exists, didn't check if the email matches the ID of that parameter, and most importantly, didn't check that the GWT was signed or not. We didn't sign it, and it's still accepted. This is a confirmation that there is a vulnerability. The GWT is not signed. That's a problem, and you should report it, okay? And also now, we have a new venue of attack, because now we can modify this for other attacks, okay? So, we confirm that this is a vulnerability, and you should report it. We are in time for a break already? Okay, so let's stop here. If you don't have more questions, we modify our first session cookie, and now you know what's going to happen. After the break, we are going to be exploiting it. See you in 10 minutes, people. At 51. Okay, ready, people? Ready to continue. Internet, come back from the kitchen, get your cookies with you, stop making the asado, or leave the asado there, put the ambers in minimum. So, how are we going to exploit this session cookie? Now we know that there is a vulnerability, and we know that we can make it happen. The problem is that we need to find in which other places of the site these cookies are used, okay? And this depends on the site, depends on the developer. I wanted to say that we were talking before, it's super hard to transmit this. It's like, how do you teach somebody to be creative? How do you teach somebody to, you know, painting art? It's kind of hard. You cannot just do it in a very methodological way. You need to practice, right? You need to explore to gain this art. So what you don't see behind the scenes is that the steps to find that and to make it happen, it can take 1 hour, it can take 2, it can take a day, because you're like searching, not trying, failing. So the basics part of the analysis is that you're going to be trying most things that you are not going to be making happen, they are not going to work, but you need to find out how to jump over the errors and exploit them. In some of them, you will not be able to do that. In some of them, you will, okay? The mark of a good pen tester. So, find the correct cookie for admin. We are going to be doing this one. So, we are going to see if the process of changing the password is vulnerable when combined with the GWT cookie. That means, first, we are going to be getting this cookie. So, when you are doing the find request rest user who am I, like we did before, in the proxy, you should have the cookie as before, okay? And as we did before, you have here the information of the user and email, exactly as before. And then what we did with you already is to copy this cookie and to take it to CyberChef, okay? You should have this already. Now, what we are going to be doing, this is when you decode it, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be modifying in a different way, okay? We are going to be modifying this in a different way. And what we want to do is the JSON to belong to admin. So if you go back to our CyberChef, let me make this bigger, we have a lot of information here, and we want this to belong to admin. And that means basically 3 things. The first one is, we want to modify the ID. So what you guess is the ID of the admin? What? 1. Why 1? The first user in the database. This is a good guess. Usually the administrators, the creators, the owners, the root, the admin are the first users in the database because they are testing and developing, which means there is a huge chance that the first IDs, 0, 1, 2, 3, belong to the admins. So we are going to take a chance and we are going to modify, sorry, CyberChef, we are going to modify this ID to be 1. Modify ID to be 1. What do we want to do here? Remember, we have a cookie that belongs to us. Now we want to change this cookie to say, oh, I am not Pepito, I am the admin. So what does it mean? Okay, my user ID is 1, and then the important one is the email. Which is the email of the admin? As you can see, exploiting these things takes a lot of guessing or a lot of awareness. We saw it before. Okay, go to Burp, proxy, HTTP history, and try to find the email of the admin. I will give you 30 seconds. Find the email of the admin. Very well, that's the email. So how did you find it? You went to, filter settings, yeah. Type admin in the search, like I have here, and apply. You will see a lot of requests. There are many. I just click in main.js. You should have it there. And then on the bottom of each of these ones, you also have a search in that one. So I search admin at, and when you click the arrows, you see that enter the admin's email address into the email field, admin as juice-sh .op. Okay? So now you know which is the email of the admin. So you can go back to CyberChef and modify this to be the email of the admin. The other thing that we need to do is that we need to actually delete a lot of the things. Here is how to find it. I'm going to scroll. Yeah, there you go. So we need to delete a lot of the parts of this cookie that are not relevant and make it break. So after a lot of experimentation and trying an error and trying an error and putting and deleting, I found what works. So we need to delete everything except the profile image. So delete all the bottom except the profile image. Pay attention that you should also delete the comma at the end because the last element should not have a comma, okay? And then you delete the last login IP, you delete the looks token and the role and the password, you don't need that. And then also you delete the username, that you don't need that. So at the end, you should have a JSON saying status success, data, ID1, email admin, profile image something, it doesn't matter, okay, everybody? So if you have that, exactly like I put here, we need to convert this back into the GWT. You already did that. If you remember, we are gonna be using the sign, we are gonna be using the algorithm none, and then at the bottom you should have the new sign, not signed GWT. Copy, 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 okay? We want to have a GWT that now says, I am the admin, okay? Now that we have that, we need to verify that it works, and for that, we want to go back to the REST user whoami request that we had in Burp. So Burp, repeater, we have that one in here, and we are gonna modify again this cookie token up to the end, we are going to paste the new one, and we are going to click send. And you should confirm that now the interpretation from the system says ID1 email admin. Okay? So you didn't make mistakes, you didn't copy paste incorrectly, or whatever. Now that we have that, let's change the password of the admin. So how do we do that? First is that you need to change the password for your user to understand the process of the parameters. So go to Chromium, go to your account, go to Privacy and Security, click on Change Password, and now we have Change Password, so we need to put the current password. In my case, it was QWERTY12345 exclamation mark, and now I'm going to put a new one. That is going to be new password camel case 1 exclamation mark. In my case, it's going to be new password 1 exclamation mark. And then click change. Okay? Yes, you can change the cookie, but that's in many cases, it may work, maybe not, maybe yes, but we want to change the password of the admin. So we need to know how the system works when it's trying to change the password. It may mean, like you said, that changing the cookie all the time gives you, I'm the admin. You can try that. In many cases, it doesn't work because it's doing other verifications, right? But you can try. If you go to the system user and you say, hey, change the password with this, maybe it works. This is a good opportunity to say that when you're doing this professionally, Burp has a section of the proxy that you can say in real time, every time my browser is sending this cookie, change with this one. So then you can go back to the Chromium browser and you click like a user, but now you are the other one, right? But that's a little bit more complicated here. So focusing on the how to change your password, what we need to do now is to go and find this request in Burp. So we need to go to Burp, go to proxy, history. I'm going to delete the admin. I'm going to actually put password in the search. And I'm going to go to the bottom, and you should see a request to REST user change password. And now we have parameters. Parameter that is the current password, the new password, and the new password again. We have many security problems here. The passwords are going in the get parameters. This is not encrypted, right? We have many things to report. So now that you found the correct request, double click, send to repeater. And now in repeater, we have the request to change the password of my user ASDF. You need to confirm that it works. So you click send, and it's going to tell you, yeah, super duper. See, username something 43, you change your password. Okay? So this is the unprivileged user. Now that we have this, we need to copy our cookie into the request in the place of the authorization bearer. Why not the cookie? It depends on the applications. Some parts of the applications are using the cookie, some parts are using the authentication bearer token. Which one works, you need to try. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other, okay? So, because you already have this copied, right? Because you already have this copy, the cookie copy, you need to go to Burp, take the authorization bearer string, paste the new one, and most importantly, you need to delete the current password because we don't have the current password. Okay? So let me go back to the text and now replace authorization bearer with the token of modified. And well, here I have the current should be empty. Okay? Current should be empty. I have it here written. Oh yeah, now delete the current password. Okay? So be sure you delete. Now you press send. And look at that. Admin email, and you have the request that work. And actually, you have a confirmation with the MD5 of the password. So you can now check if this password, new password 1, actually has an MD5 with that value, if you want to confirm. But that was a success. We sent a request to change password of a user by being another one by changing the session cookie, okay? So how do we confirm that it works? Well, you go to your Chromium, you log out, you try to log in again, you put the new password, you put the email of the admin, and you click login. Oh, invalid, didn't work for me. For you? Did it work? I will try again. I will try again. I will copy my cookie, the authorization bearer. I'm not gonna have, I'm gonna send without this. I have a bad request. I'm not sure why I have a bad request. I'm gonna send again. Maybe I copied incorrectly. Did it work for you or not? Let me change the cookie to see if that's related. It's not. Something I'm doing incorrectly here. New password. Let me go back. This one work. I will copy the one that work also in the cookie just in case. Also in the cookie. Copy. It says it work. I will try again to log in. So, did it work or not? Nobody's answering me. Oh, there you go, it worked. So, it means what we did is just changing first the authorization bearer. It didn't work, and then we changed the bearer and the cookie. It seems that there was a confirmation in the server side doing both operations, and I need to update the document to send also the cookie, and also change the cookie. Okay? Did it work for you or not? Yes? People there? Yes? Internet? Well done, hackers! Take that, admin. You changed your password. Did you have the celebration when you get in? If you log in as the admin, you have like, pooh, challenge solved now? Such a good question. Are the instances shared? I will guess that maybe that's such a good point. Thank you very much. Let me confirm that to you. That probably is an issue. Oh, yes. If you're using the Strato CyberLab, no, but yeah.
Exactly. So if you are using Strato CyberLab, so for people that are on the internet, that instance is not shared. It's just for them. But for you guys who are sitting here, the instances are shared. We have 3 different instances, so all of us are hacking the same 3 instances. So what could have happened that somebody actually changed the password for the administrator for you? So that's why you couldn't get in. And that's exactly why you are getting notifications that somebody hacks or win something that you did not.
Yeah. And I like that. So there you go. You deserve so lemon or strawberry. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Whatcha? So short. I'm sorry. Such a good way of looking at this. And also pay attention, because this situation that may be weird, this is a real life situation. When you go to a website, you are not the only one using it. So when you're pen testing, also the real admin is there. So you may try and it fail because they are changing passwords, or maybe you have 2 attackers simultaneously. It's by far happened many times that 2 attackers are in the same site and they are seeing each other and modifying things. So that's a good thing to say. So that's it, people. We just modify the login of the admin, and we explore the site, identify the user session cookies, understood the session's cookies, we modify them, and the website accepts this cookie and allow us to perform actions as the admin, including the password. Okay? So, questions? Session attack, session cookies, modification of cookies. It may be included in the exam and bonus or not. We don't know. We don't know. We'll see later. So be sure that you understand the concept. No questions? Internet? Okay. Let's do the next one. The next one is going to call Open Redirect Analysis. So do you know what is an Open Redirect? Who can tell us what's an Open Redirect? And I have orange. Allegedly one of the best candy flavors ever, I'm told. I don't like it, but...
Strawberry or nothing.
Okay, strawberry. So, what is an Open Redirect? I'm under the impression that you may be scared of me dropping this to you. That's why you're not answering, right? No, I have no idea, right? It's like, no, I'm fine, thank you very much.
What
right?
about if the price is, I will not throw this to you?
Okay, that's it. If you answer, I'm not throwing to you. So. No? So, an Open Redirect, it's a technology, it's not bad, it's not good, where a website allows being redirected and telling the user you need to go to another website that it's not mine. It can be a local address, it can be a third party. So under some situations, the web server needs to tell you, oh, you computer, client, need to go to this site. So to do that, what happens is that sometimes this URL that you are redirected to should be part of the request, should be sent in the request. And then we need to start validating, remembering every byte, I'm going to be literal here, every byte in this part, every single byte you see, including this one, everything you can change and analyze the answer. You can find errors, okay? So in this case, we are going to be working with the redirection. So, of course, this is a valid technology, right? For example, a lot of information and a lot of sites are redirecting when you are doing the normal request, but also as a pen tester, you're going to be redirecting, and then an attacker is going to be redirecting. So I want to be clear the differences. If you're a normal user, you have a normal user, you are sending some request saying redirect to something, and the web server analyzes this and then says, oh, sure, this is safe. So sending back to you, location-secure.com. Be mindful that the real redirection happens because of the location header, not because of the redirect, okay? The redirect is parameters in the URL. The location is telling the browser to relocate. When you are testing, actually what you are doing is sending this redirect to evil.com, and then you receive the location, and then as a pen tester, you're super happy, and you say, oh yeah, it worked, right? I sent something, and I was redirected. But how do you use it? How do you abuse? How do you exploit this issue? So as an attacker, it's a little bit different. As an attacker, once you identify the problem, you need to exploit it. And in this case, a real attacker must send to the victim somehow a link to click that will contain the redirection. This can go through man in the middle. Oh, this is an error here. Man in the middle can be a cross-site request forgery, can be a cross-site scripting, can be in an email with phishing. Somehow the victim should access the link, and then the victim clicks and is being redirected to the evil.com, okay? So let's exploit this one. To exploit it in Burp, we are gonna start searching for redirects in your history. So go to Burp, proxy, history, filter settings, and search for redirect. And you should have some here. The one that I'm searching for is this one. Localhost, redirect to something, okay? Be sure you have that. Everyone? Now you have this one, right-click, send to repeater. and in repeater, you should have the whole request with all the information. How do we know if it works? The one that we are just trying to repeat? You send it, exactly. So you click in send, and you say, oh, look, we found this one, and redirecting to this site. But here is not really the redirection. This HTML paragraph P is not redirecting anything. Where is the real redirection? Where in there is the real order telling my browser to redirect? The location header, this one here. So this location header is the standard way of the internet web protocols to say, you browser, you should go here. So this in the bottom is just for you humans to read, okay? So what do we want? Well, I want to put something here that actually redirects to some other page so I can trick the user. So what about modifying that and putting evil.com? So I press send, and what do we have? The error is 406, not acceptable, and if you read, it's saying the error, unrecognized target URL for redirect evil.com. So it looks like actually there is a checking mechanism. Okay, so does not allow me to do the redirect. I will go back. I will look again at this one. It's a GitHub. So what if I just redirect to GitHub in general? I will delete the juice shop something, okay? I will send to GitHub and recognize URL. So this is not a domain base. I cannot send you to any place in GitHub. I need to put specifically this URL. I need to send specifically that one. Wait for me. There you go. So this one is the one that works. So you may believe that the security is correctly implemented because I cannot change the domain, I cannot change the parameters, I cannot change whatever is sent. So what do we do? Well, the question here is that even if you delete the parameter to or to, right? I will put only a t and I send. It's going to tell you, I cannot read the properties of undefined something something. So you really need to have a to parameter here, right? A to parameter here. So the problem and the creativity around this is that you should realize that even though you need to have a to parameter and even though you need to have a GitHub exact URL, this one, there is no check to know that GitHub should be at the beginning of the parameter. So what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be creating a new things to put after the to, okay? So it's going to be stratosphereips.org in my case. And then I'm going to create a fake parameter called other equal. And as part of this fake parameter that doesn't exist, I'm going to put the exact same URL that is expecting. And that means that when you do that and you press send, it's going to tell you, sure, now I'm going to redirect you to Stratosphere IPS. So the problem was that there was no checking that if this exact URL is at the beginning or not. So you trick it by saying, go to this site, and then when you check if the string exists, it's going to be in the URL. But it's not going to work as you think. So actually, you can go and try this on your browser. So I'm going to be copying the dash redirect. I'm going to go to Chromium, and I'm going to modify here the URL to have the redirect, and I'm going to click enter, and you should go to wherever you want to go. Okay? Was it clear? No? Yes? Simple? Complex? Do you understand the security issue behind? Do you see what's the how to test? Do you see how to explore what you need to come up in your mind? Don't be discouraged that it's not working. Don't be discouraged that there are errors. Maybe you need just to find the way to send this differently, right? Maybe you need to read about how it works. What does the other argument do? Who can answer this one? What does the other argument do? Who can tell this one? What does the other parameter do? And the answer is nothing. It's completely fake. So the only thing you need is to have in any part of this URL that exact test. https://github.com/juice-shop/juice-shop. There's going to be a code searching letter by letter, but the code is faulty and it's not checking that it's at the beginning. So it doesn't matter where it is as long as it's there. This parameter can be whatever. I only put a parameter because I want this to look like a real URL. Maybe that is not true, right? Was it clear? Another question? Like that. So if you want to abuse this as an attacker, you need to send this somehow to the victim. So you need to trick somebody to receive this URL. Let me go back to Chromium. You need to receive this one, exactly this one, right? Localhost, well, in this case, not localhost, but whatever web page you're attacking, redirect to. So this, you need to be able to force anybody to click on this. I don't care. Social engineering, writing in a paper and leaving here, putting in USB, phishing, email, Slack, chat, WhatsApp. You need somebody to click. The moment they click, they can be infected, right? Questions more? Internet? Okay, there you go. So we are ready to change. We are going to continue with this and with Lucas. And I'm some minutes late. I'm sorry, Lucas.
Okay, no, it's fine. So let's just change the computer.
Yes.
Can we?
And can you do some music, like background music in the meantime?
Like me, like to sing? Yeah. No. Well, you can try that. Maybe we can big box? Okay, do we have picture? We do have picture. Yay, it's coming. So sorry, let me just drink a bit. Yay. So hi everyone, this is a bit unusual, but we split the class into two. Can you see the text? Is it big enough? Yes, I hope it is. Like, any issues? No? How about the terminal? Can you see whatever I'm typing, or do we need a little bit more? Yeah, this is good. Okay, great. So I will talk about server-side request forgery. Server-side request forgery, or SSRF, is a vulnerability where an attacker tricks a server to make unauthorized HTTP request. Okay, so basically what an attacker is going to do is to force the server to access some resource somewhere. Okay, I have this super simple example that was created like really to be vulnerable, so this is not a real application. This is really just a server that accepts a parameter URL as a query parameter, and then just simply goes to this server. Okay, this is just for educational purposes, so we can actually try. Please open your containers either in Stratos CyberLab or in a Chevauta network. We put this server behind this nice DNS. So if you do curl HTTP vulnerable server, vulnerable, yay! You should get this response because we did not supply any URL. Is everybody able to reach it? Like, all good, all good. Internet, all good. I hope it is. If you have any questions, let me know. All right. So what we are going to do is that we will force this server to go to example.com. Okay? This is again like very simple, intentionally vulnerable server, and I will explain very shortly why this is very very wrong why this is, why we are able to do it. So as you can see, we were able to get to example.com. Example.com, by the way, do you know this domain? No? So example.com, that's like dedicated domain so that you can use it in all examples that you do. And there's simple HTML which just says example domain. Now, given that you are able to force server to do HTTP request somewhere, how can you exploit it? Do you have any ideas? What do you think? So we have a server somewhere that we can force to make an HTTP request. How can we misuse it? Nice. Exactly. Because we can force it to make HTTP requests, we can include it, for example, in some denial of service attacks, right? So, instead of us doing all the, HTTP requests to some server that we want to take down, we would force this particular server that we found that is vulnerable to SSRF to make the request for us. So this is denial of service. Cool. Any other things that we can do with it? Okay. Yes?
Maybe it could be a nice way to put a file in the server, like we would send a request.
Yes. So wait, your name? Sorry. Jan. So what Jan is saying that there might be a way how to put a file into the server. That's true. If the server is actually downloading the content, and it's storing it somewhere, we could, just download all the files that we want to this server. We can also take down this particular server if we, for example, if we force it to make a request to a site that's huge. Imagine that we would just, let it download, I don't know, movie or something, or we can use something that's called infinite sites just to fill the disk of this particular server that we are attacking. Any other things that we can do with this? What do you think?
We can force the server to access things that the server can access, but we can't.
Exactly. So let me repeat it. We can force the server to access things that we don't have access to, but the server does. So essentially, what we can do is that we can force the server to access private networks or basically anything the server has access to. So usually what you do when you are deploying an application is that as we said in the previous class, the web is convoluted network of many services behind each other, right? So usually when you deploy an application that relies on some other applications, these internal services such as databases or, I don't know, some internal APIs or something like that are inside a private network. So nobody outside can access it, okay? So if me as an attacker wants to access, for example, this internal service 1, I cannot because it's behind the firewall and I cannot go into that network. However, the server that we just, exploited has access to the database because usually, when you are doing some application server, you need a database, you need to store stuff somewhere. This database is not, on the internet. It's actually in the private network, or at least is, whitelisted on an IP level, so the web server can access it, but me as an attacker, I cannot. However, as we saw before, if we are able to let the vulnerable server, and we can force it to go somewhere, we can actually sometimes force it to go to some private network. So essentially, like getting rid of this barrier between us and the database. What we did is that we have an example for it in the Stratos Lab and inside Chevauta network. So we created 2 networks for you. One that your container is running in, and the other one that contains this secret server. Now, they are inside totally different networks, so you cannot access them. You can verify. You can verify that this is not true by simply trying to ping it. Please, for internet, I'm sorry, I forgot to install ping inside your container. So before you are able to run this, please execute this inside your Stratos CyberLab. So please install ping. I didn't realize that Debian does not have, ping installed. I will give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good, it's installed. It's really fast. So now we can actually try that our secrets are that we cannot access the secret server from our own container, okay? So what I'm doing is trying to get to the secret server. I cannot, okay? Same with curl, HTTP, secret server. Yeah, it doesn't work. However, our vulnerable server is connected to both networks like this. So it's kind of simulating, the exposed service with the database behind it. So that one is, in both networks. It has 2 network interfaces, so it can talk to us and it can talk to the secret server. For example, imagine that the secret server is actually a database that contains secret data. Any questions so far for the networking, for this setup, or what I am doing right now? No? Internet. Any questions from the internet about networking? This is a bit more abstract, but I hope you understand what we are doing. If not, please ask. Okay, so again, just to be really sure that my container over here cannot access secret server, curl, yeah, no luck there, okay? But given that the vulnerable server is in between and actually has access to both of them, we can use the server-side request forgery and actually access the secret server like that. So if you go again back to your container and execute it like this, so curl, go to vulnerable server and let it execute the get on secret server treasure. Yay, we are getting response. Okay, so what we did is that we proxied our request through the vulnerable server to the secret server, and essentially like gapping the networks together through the vulnerable server. Okay, any questions for this? Because this is very important. By definition, when you are able to make a server make HTTP requests, that's not vulnerable. But if you are able to force the server to access some private networks, yeah, that's bad. Okay? Why is that bad? Any ideas? Like, why is bad? I mean, of course it's bad because like we are accessing something that we should not, right? But who here works as a software engineer in a company? Raise your hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you are deploying services into private network, I don't know how about you, but what we usually did is just leave the default authentication and everything there. Okay? This is like very bad practice, but it's a private network. You kind of consider it safe. And this is exactly the type of attack that makes it very, very, very unsafe. Okay? Cool. Great. Any questions? Internet or anyone? Yes, please. Exactly. So let me repeat for the internet. How do I know what to access when it's private? That's a great question. You don't. It's kind of simple like that. You don't. You have to try. Like when pen testing when hacking something, you have to guess a lot. Okay? So this one kind of artificial example. We already knew what we want to access. But you can, for example, try, I don't know, just IP addresses. Like the private range is finite, so you can just try to access private IP addresses. Yes, Martin. So what Martin is saying is that you can go there, you can go on localhost. Because like localhost is everywhere. That's the only place that's home. So so you can try. Yes.
A small thing also in cloud environments, they're sharing a lot of the behind the scenes, and then you can in one service see that is something and then try in the other, right? Or sometimes they actually publish like the names inside, right?
So what Sebas is saying for the internet, because you don't have microphone. Oh, you do. Okay, so
something else.
Yes, sorry.
When you are developing, part of this exploration can also lead you to the technologies that were used to create the application. And often, if they use the same technology, they are likely to follow some of the same stuff. So they might have the database on the same place. The file structure can be the same. So with experience, you can also start guessing in a way.
Exactly. One more thing about the cloud providers, this is very true, because by default, if you create an instance in AWS, it's put inside a default network, okay? And when you create another one, it's again like put inside a default network so they can talk to each other. And if you are able to exploit one with this, you can access the other one, okay? So, you know, default values for everything, awesome for pen testers, very wrong for all the engineering folks and everything, okay? And the question to like answer how do you know what to access? It's a lot of guessing, like all the time. Sometimes you are able to, I don't know, get some information from DNS. For example, if the company have grafana.company.com, but it's not publicly available, maybe it's available from this network. Okay? Great. Any other questions for this? Nice. Great. Internet? Anything from internet? No. All right. Please feel free to ask. All right. So we were able to access it, and let's try with our favorite juice shop. Okay. This is like very awesome application. So please go to the juice shop and log in. You need to be logged in. Use your favorite way how to log in is the juice shop. For me, it's SQL injection. That one is awesome. We also changed the password, so feel free to change password or do however you want to. Usually, where you can find some parameters or an entry point for SSRF, for server-side request forgery, is like places where you can insert URL, right? You need to be able to insert URL. Usually, or not usually, but there are many applications that allow you to set your avatar or your profile picture with inserting a URL inside that. You can either upload or insert URL. Now, right now we just learned what we can do with URLs. So, how do we test that this is true? Because if I put here just, I don't know, example.com, I don't know, like, did it work or did it not? I don't know. I have no way of knowing, right? So what we can do is to expose some endpoint where we are going to test if the server actually went to that endpoint, if they actually made the HTTP request, okay? Do you remember what we used in the last class? Exactly, the canary server. So, going back to my document, we will use the same application as last time. It's called appinteractsh.com. So let's go here, and let's create a new canary domain, or canary token. For those who were not on the last class or are watching for the first time, this technology will record all the interactions there are with this particular URL or with this particular canary token, okay? So whenever anybody tries to access this URL, we will know about it. And why we need that is so we can verify that the server is actually making requests, is actually trying to access something. So we know that, we can force it to access basically anything, right? So create create a token here. When you open it, you should have it here. For those who already have some data here and use it for last time, just click on plus. It's going to generate a new one. Now, go to Juice Shop, and into image URL, I'll just make it bigger. We can do HTTP and paste the URL, okay? And link the image. Okay, I don't see anything happening, but that's the same as with example.com, right? Just to refresh, nope. But in here, I'm back in the interact sh. So what I can see is that something triggered the canary token. Okay, so I now know that the server actually attempted to access the URL. So I know that I can force it to make the request. And again, there are two interactions that happened. First one was DNS. So the server tried to resolve domain, and then it actually made the request. By the way, what we can also learn about this is that it shows us the IP address of the server. Usually, you know the IP address, but if there's some infrastructure in front of the server, you don't have to. So, right now, you know where the server is running. It's running here. You can do, I don't know, port scanning or any other things that you can try. Yes?
If the server is using another server like a proxy, right?
Then you don't know.
If there is another infrastructure, you still don't know.
Exactly. So for the internet, if the server that we are attacking is using another proxy as a outbound node, then we will not know the real IP address of the server. So this is just a piece of data that you have, you as an attacker, that you can try to use forward in in the future. Okay, so this is not necessarily the IP address where the server is running, but it gives us some information about the possible infrastructure for the server. Okay? All right, so we are now able to force Juice Shop to make HTTP request. Any question for that? Internet? No? We're good. All right. Going on. We can, because again, we know that Juice Shop is doing this, we can access the secret server as well. Again, this one, very artificial. I already knew the URL. I didn't have to guess it, but it's an example how to exfiltrate data, because this way we are not able to access it like this, right? So going to my container, I cannot do just this, right? Because it does not work. I cannot do it. Moreover, if I do it from my own computer, that does not work as well, because sure, I'm not on the network that I need to be. However, Juice Shop is. So again, if I go and take this URL that's on secret server and put it into Juice Shop as image URL, Juice Shop is going to access the URL for me. Yay. Okay. So this way, because we are able to actually see the output of the web page that we try to access, this way we can exfiltrate data. All right? So not only we can force the server to actually access internal resources, but we can also force it to give the resources to us. All right? So we just exfiltrated this awesome image that's already on our web page, so you could you could see before, but just as an example. Great. By the way, this is not a theoretical exercise. There was like quite recent hack where somebody exfiltrated 100 million credit card applications and accounts because of the server-side request forgery. So this is not theoretical, okay? What we are doing are real attacks in sandbox environment inside Jitbox. All right? So how can you protect yourself or your server from this type of attack? Any ideas? Okay, internet. Any ideas how to protect yourself from this? Okay, so for the internet, what Vlad is saying, thank you, is that you can put the server into total sandbox environment where there's like nothing, and the server can only talk to you or talk to the outside world, and you monitor all the traffic that is going in and out, right? Yes, that's true. But what if your server needs access to the database? Then it's a trade-off between security, availability, and all of that. So this is very hard. However, what you can do is to always, if you need your user to put a URL that your server needs to access, you have to always check where are you going. Okay? You need to stop doing the request if the request is aiming on the local host or on private networks. And in addition to that, you have to check the limits of what you are downloading, so you don't fill, so you don't fill out your disk because somebody put an infinite website as your URL. Okay? By the way, life hack. If you are doing redirects, as Sebastian showed you, sometimes if your server is following the redirects, user inputs example.com that redirects to helloworld.com that redirects to something else. One of the redirects actually might be to localhost. So it's not enough just to resolve the first domain where you are going, but you need to interrupt the request and always check where your server is trying to go. All right?
We have some input
Yes.
from the internet. So one says IP whitelisting. And the other input is avoid lateral movement between the servers.
Okay, IP whitelisting and allow lateral movement between the servers. That's good. I really like it. IP whitelisting in a sense that you limit where your server can go, right? So in this case, it would be that you limit your server only to go to database. This has this advantage that you just allow the attacker to go only to one server, so you limited the access, but it's still the one server with like very good data. Yes, Martin.
I would say to set up your server with multiple network interfaces, and when you are calling this user input URL, use the interface that is not in your private network.
Okay. Yeah, this is awesome. What Martin is saying is that you should set up your server with multiple network interfaces, and whenever you are making this untrusted HTTP request, you use the network interface that is not connected to the private network. Okay? Great. Moving on. Another awesome... Oh, do we have second break? No, we don't. We have break before. Another awesome attack is XML injection. We do have a break? Okay, so we do have a break, sorry. So let's do 10 minutes and let's meet 16:57. Okay, more than one. Okay, sorry people, let's have a break and then we can go to XML injection. All right, so let's start. And yeah, we just got something that's called break injection. So now we will talk about XML injection. So XML, have you heard about XML? Yes, I guess. So XML is a format, something like JSON. And now we will talk about XML injection, which is an attack that targets applications that process XML data. And XML injection occurs when the attacker inserts malicious XML content into web application, and the application then improperly handles the untrusted input. So how does that work? XML allows you to like reference things. Okay, so you actually can have a pointer on the XML reference, and it also allows you something which is called XML external entity, or XEE. Well, referencing XEE tells the XML parser to replace the reference with actual data, okay? And XEE can be, for example, any data store there is. So you can reference a file. This was actually the original idea behind XEEs, where, okay, instead of writing code that will read the file and replace some placeholders, we will directly build it into the parser where you can reference the file, and it gets interpreted. Okay, but it does not have to be only file. It can be, I don't know, database connection string. It can be also reference to some date, so some URL, and you can force the parser to make the request and and stuff like that. So what happens here is that attacker forces the service to interpret the XML that contains some references. The parser interprets the XML, so replaces the references with data, and this XML is then returned to the user. Okay, so in our case, this is the reference entity. So this is the payload. You have it also inside your container in /data/xmli payload, and this is the XML. Okay, so what we are doing here is that we are referencing system, and we are saying replace this. We are saying this is the variable XE. It can be like anything, and we are telling to parser replace this variable with content of this file. All right, this is secret file with user accounts. And then what we are doing is that we are referencing this variable and saying, okay, expand data that are inside this variable and expand it here, return the XML. All right. We have again like an implementation of a very simple vulnerable server. This one is again like very artificial. I don't think that you are able to find service like that running on the internet somewhere. I really hope you don't. But the idea is similar for everything. Okay, so what is happening here is that we do post, we read the body, we put it inside the parser that has enabled resolving, which is exactly what XEE is doing. We are reading the output and we are sending it back to the user. Okay, so in your container, we can check that the XMLI payload is exactly the one that we talked about earlier. So I can show you. Yes, it's here's variable. We are reading this file, and we want it to output it here. Okay. So we do curl that says, hey, I'm doing post request with data like this, and we are going to XMLI server. Yay. This is the content of the file. So we are just able to exfiltrate data by simply requesting them, right? Because this is literally telling parser, hey, read this file, put it here, output it for us. Okay? Questions so far? Good. This is a vulnerable parser, by the way, and vulnerable configuration of the parser. By default, like modern parsers will probably have this like extended entities disabled, but if you enable them, then this can happen. Okay? Questions so far for XML injection? No? This is quite simple. Cool, great. Internet? Anything for internet? Do we have anything for internet? No. Good. So, what is the problem here, right? Or how can you resolve the problem? This is basically the same as injecting code somewhere else. We already saw that when we were doing cross-site scripting, that's injecting JavaScript into HTML. Then we had SQL injection that was executing or inserting SQL inside a user input, which gets then interpreted on the server directly inside SQL query. And now we are injecting XML or instructions for XML parser to read some data we should not have access to. Okay, so this is again problem of incorrect input sanitization. All right, so whenever you accept some user input, please check what the users are, trying to tell you, or what they are like giving you. Again, with what we can do with this vulnerability is what we saw is a data exfiltration. We can instruct the parser to read some file, go to some URL. Sometimes we can also do denial of service because we can reference things. So we can do something which is called a billion loves attack. I will talk about it a bit later. And in some cases, XE are able to even execute the code. Okay, because again, you can instruct parser to do basically anything. Some of them have different capabilities, and some of them even allow you to execute bash, execute any command whatsoever, and then give you output. All right? So the idea is here, we are targeting XML applications, we are targeting parsers, we are doing stuff with them. Now, we are going to the next one, which is honestly, I think I love this attack the most, which is insecure direct object reference, or short for, or we say IDER. So IDER is a web application vulnerability that occurs when application directly access objects, such as databases, entries, or resources, based on user input without actually properly verifying the user's authorization. What it means is that if user can access only invoice 1, 2, 3, 4, the server actually allows user to even access invoice, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay? This is a state where for example, the application does not validate proper authorization and authentication of the request. What this also is that whenever, for example, that when you are posting review, which is something that we will see and later, you do not check who is sending it, but you simply trust whatever is inside the payload. For example, if you are receiving user ID, you simply trust that this user ID is correct. All right? So when this is exploitable, it not only allows exfiltration of data, but it also allows you as an attacker to perform actions in the name of different users or access data that they don't have access to. Right? So that's the data exfiltration. Again, because we love our awesome juice shop, so we will use juice shop as an example of this, and we will show examples that allows us to access data we shouldn't be able to access. And yeah, so in the previous step with Sebastian and with Burp, we saw like many different requests, what they are doing, what is happening. I will not do analysis again. I will simply show you, okay, this is the REST endpoint. These are the inputs, outputs. Feel free to play it with Burp however you want to. This is probably the best suit there is for pen testing. But in general, when you are testing for IDERs, we are looking for payloads and parameters that contain some ID. Okay, either I don't know, user ID, product ID, whatever ID, comment ID, I don't know. Okay, but we are targeting IDs in our particular case. Okay, we are targeting IDs inside database, which we want to either manipulate with or we want to exfiltrate them. Or also, like any other identifiers, such as emails and product names, might help us as well, because some applications identify their users with just email or just products or something like that. Okay, so in general, we are targeting identifiers of anything inside the application. In case of OWASP JUSOP, I identify these 1, 2, 3, 4 different endpoints with following payloads. Okay, so creating user reviews uses post request on REST product ID reviews, where the payload is message and author. Okay, so we now see that, okay, author, I mean, that's identifier, right? So we might be able to use this one. Another one is, for example, complaints, where we are posting user ID. You know, when you create a complaint, you might be able to create for some other user. Another one is feedbacks, again, containing user ID. Or, and this one is very good, is when accessing the content of your shopping basket. You know, so when you put Apple add to basket, Orange put to basket, there's this request that goes like get REST basket some ID. This ID, when you dig into it, you will find out that this is actually user ID. So they are requesting data from the basket using this particular request. Now, so let's try one. Oh, okay, by the way, any questions so far? Like, do you know what I'm talking about? This is a bit more high level. So any questions so far? Okay, let me rephrase. Who does understand what I'm talking about? Okay, cool, great. This is nice. How about internet? Everybody good? No questions so far? Great. So let's post a user review as a different user. All right. So we have this endpoint. The products, you can list them just by going to list products, but they are integer ID, so we can actually make a guess and say, okay, they're probably going to be a product with a number 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. You get the gist. So go to your containers, and we will show that accessing product, okay, we choose number 3. So let's access reviews for product number 3. What we are doing is going to JuiceShop port 3000. By the way, use this from your container, okay, not your computer. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Go to your container and let's run this. We are piping the output to JQ. JQ, very nice CLI tool. It can visualize your JSON, and it can also help you to search in JSONs. All right, so there are many reviews. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so somebody already posted reviews. That's nice. We can also, I'm going back a bit, and we will post a new review. All right. So we can use put request, where the payload looks like this. So it's message with some author. So whenever you do it from the web application, the payload looks like this. It's me in there, because I am the one posting review. I cannot put different author. It's me who is posting it. But because we are sending requests ourselves, either through Burp or through curl, we can modify whatever we want to. So we can just put their Pepito user who actually doesn't exist. But let's see if that works. So again, in your containers, we are going to execute curl put request with following data: bad product, author, Pepito, JuiceShop. All right, status success. That's good. That looks very promising. So maybe we were able to do it. Going back to my document, I can again check what reviews are there. So going back to oh damn it. So going back to get reviews. Yeah. So this one did not work because, as you can see, the product is 3 liked by ID, but we don't see our text. Okay. You can see actually many people did that. Nice. Thank you for following up and executing it. So this what does it mean? We were not successful. Or we are kind of successful. It says success, but it did not it did not write it to the database properly. This happens. Okay.
Like when you are testing it, not everything works out. So what does this mean is that there is probably some sort of input validation, or that they are actually checking something, maybe that the user exists, maybe that it does not, stuff like that. Okay, let's try another one. We can try feedbacks, because again we saw that payload inside feedbacks contains user ID as well. Again, there are two possibilities. There's get and post. So let's first count all the feedbacks there are, like this. Okay, I don't think this is too insecure. This is awesome. FF anonymous. Okay, many feedbacks. All right, we just access the endpoint. We can count how many of them there are, so we can verify that our next step actually worked before. We do that by applying this filter for GQ. This is give me go to dash data, so access element data in a JSON, and count how many elements does it have. All right? 43. There are 43 reviews. All right. Next step. This is how the payload looks like for feedbacks. You can see user ID. There is some CAPTCHA. Seba already showed you what CAPTCHA was. Turns out they are actually sending ID and the response inside this, so we can send just ID. We know the answers. It's 13, and there is comment for the feedback. All right, going back to curl, we want to impersonate user number 2, and we will tell, okay, I think this is too insecure, and give it actually 0 rating, which is something that you cannot do from the UI. All right, so again, from the container, choose shop, feedbacks, post, data, let's go. Yay, ID 48, okay. User ID, okay, this time actually received like very good response, which looks like everything should be fine with rating 0. So let's verify how many feedbacks there are now. Oh, 87, oh wow, people are using it, this is very cool, thank you. So we now got like a lot of feedbacks. We can check actually what the feedbacks are. I think this is too insecure. Hey, oh hello, user number 2 again. Okay, how about if we try something with a different user? Can we try user ID? I don't know, 20. Yeah, actually they do not validate. I don't think there's a user 20. It looks they are also not validating properly, even if the user exists or not. So you can create requests with users that do not exist. All right. Poop. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Actually, we can verify this one that it really propagates the UI by going to the feedback site. Yeah, it's like /about /shabak about. And nothing really useful. Going here, great shop, awesome service. I think this is insecure. Yeah, null. Okay, that does not all look really good. I think this is too insecure. So many people posting this is not insecure. I would not buy this in this shop, given the reviews. Again, insecure, but you get the gist. So, in this particular case, we were actually able to do it. So we were able to reference users that do not exist. We were able to force the ad shop to think that somebody else than us posted the review. So this one is the part about like making actions as somebody else in their name. So they think that, I don't know, Pepito wrote the review or whoever else. Okay? Any questions for this one? Yes? Why did we have to specify the content type? Okay, so this one I tried. Sometimes it is okay without content type. An application expects JSON by default, and you don't have to. Sometimes sometimes it does not work without it. This is very much based on how the application is implemented. Because if it's expecting JSON all the time, you can usually leave it out, but sometimes they need it. So for example, if I don't use the content type over here, I don't think it's gonna work. So let me try. Oh, yay! Okay. So going here. Oh my God, this is slow. Sorry. So let me just go there and do that without the content type. I think this is gonna break, but it really depends on the application. This was like very specific to this endpoint. So let's try. Yeah, we received error where parameter captcha ID has a valid undefined value. Okay, so really depends on the application. This time it needed the content time. Sometimes it does not.
So we have a question from the internet.
Yes, please.
So these are problems with the API that is not doing any validation?
Exactly. So this is the problem of an API that is not doing any validation. That's one thing, that the application is not very well implemented, but we already knew that before. And the problem, at the end of the day, it's always about like checking if the user has access to resources they are trying to do, right? So let me show you one last example of this, and that is that we will try to get a content of another user shopping basket. All right. This time we are doing the page of REST basket and the user ID. So let's try, and this time we actually need authorization token. Like so far we didn't have to. But this route is authorized, so we have to use one. I use the one that Sebastian created before. You can copy paste yours from the browser, or you can use this one. But the point is, like, this authorization token is for only user one. So it should be no surprise that we are actually able to access basket of the user with ID 1. Okay, this works. I can see that there are three items. All right, because I am user number 1 from here, and I'm accessing my own basket. However, what I can also do is to access basket number 2. All right, I should not be able to do it because I'm user number 1. Yet, I am able to do it. All right. So this is the one where we got some information or some data, even though we shouldn't have had an access. All right. Okay. So I want you to think about it a bit and tell me what all of these examples have, all in common with, accessing the data which we should not have access to. For example, the ones where we are posting something. Okay, internet. What does internet think? Okay, all right. That's true. So, for example, when making an action, all of these examples used user ID inside a body of the request, okay? But this is like very wrong. Why? Because if you are making an action that should be authenticated, that should be tied to your name, you always have to use the bearer token or the authentication itself to actually determine who is doing that. So in our case, the way JuiceShop is implemented is that they should check the authorization header and they should extract user ID from assigned JWT. Okay? In this particular case, in general, for any other application there is, when you are building secure application, please never ever put like this user ID inside a body, but instead on your server, after you validate the authorization header, extract the user ID from the token. Because that one you can trust if, of course, you validated it before. All right? So this is the solution for this particular problem. But always check if the user is doing an action that the user should be doing. All right? And that they have access to data that they should have access to and that they are trying to get. All right? So please, whenever you're implementing application, check user actions, that they are able to do it, they should be able to do it. And also check that users have access to data that they should have accessed, okay? Without just, like returning stuff back to them. Also, one very interesting thing here, I would recommend you, if you are building an application, is instead of using integer IDs, I would use UUIDs, which is like universal identifiers. Why? Why do you think that's the case? Like, why are UUIDs better than integers? Exactly, exactly. Because right now we could have just, iterated over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and get all the baskets there are. But if the IDs were UIDs, that would be like very, 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 very hard. So even if we make a mistake and we implement the authentication control wrong, people wouldn't be able to exploit it. All right? Great. So this was everything I wanted to tell you today, and now we are going back to bonus, right? Yeah. Awesome. Yes, you can use my computer.
I need to show the password.
Oh, yes.
So we are going to be ending a little bit. So I want to end up. Give me a second. Dun, 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 dun. Come on. Come on. You can do this. You can do this. Oh. Oh. Wait, it's coming, it's coming. Something's happening. Something is happening. Come on. There you go. Woo. Okay, so you can do this. You can do this. Oh, it's my video. What is going on? So as a class recap, I would say that web penetration testing is the most important part of most penetration testing. So people, if you are going to go into this, if you want to try, go into this topic, like dedicate time. This is one of those topics that it's beautiful to go and analyze a web page. Go, if you have a friend that has a web page, or maybe you know somebody that has a business, you can ask authorization and go into a real site that you have authorization and trying to find out what's working, not working. It's PHP, Java, JavaScript. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And it's going to push you to think and solve problems in a very creative way, okay? So I would say the most important part of the pen testing. I was saying in the chat that APIs are very insecure. Like, APIs are all over the place. Everybody has some API, and they're not tested because you don't have a browser, so nobody's really testing the boundaries of the APIs, and they are leaking data, like a lot of data. So I suggest that you also go into this topic of APIs. That being said, I wanted to show you the password. So password time, internet, password, 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 password. And I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3. Aha! Code by. Code by. That is the, means when you, it doesn't matter. Code by. Okay, that's it. That was your last password of the day. So we have something to say about it. Assignment of today.
Yes. Are you ready for the last assignment of BSY?
Yeah.
Happy it's the last one, or are you sad it's the last one? Okay, if you're sad, we have the bonus assignment, so you can do some more stuff. So yeah, basically, this assignment should be something that you've done in this class and the previous one. It's all some web attacks techniques, so there will be like 3 parts. Each one is 2 points. You need to figure out what to do to get a flag in each one of those stages. You will need to exploit some vulnerabilities, or apply some of the techniques you've learned this week and last week, maybe even some stuff from before, but definitely something that we've covered in classes. So yeah, we have one API, one database, and one server with pictures of cats. So, and all three of them will give you some flag. So yeah, good luck. And yeah, the first person to solve this, we have a special prize for you as
Exactly. It's the last Pioneer Prize for a specific assignment.
Yeah, I mean, we have the regular Pioneer prizes plus these special ones.
Yeah.
So
And the
there'll be a
special...
lot of gifts after the New Year's.
Yeah, they say that the gift for the special one is, oof, oh my God, oof, yeah. Dinosaurs, maybe dinosaurs.
Yeah. So even if you don't have some other assignment solved yet, if you solve them by 9 and then you solve this one first, you're still the winner. So you don't give up.
Questions about this one? Opening tonight at 9 p.m. Okay?
Okay, and now comes the time for the bonus. So I will first try to explain, and then we will have some questions, I assume. So the bonus is only for the CTU students. It will start tomorrow at 9 p.m. It will close the night before the last class, so that's January the 8th. The maximum amount of points you can get in the bonus is 100, and in order to pass the bonus, you need at least 70. So it's the bar is a little bit higher than it will be later on in the exams. So the main question is, why would you want to do the bonus? So first of all, it's fun. But those of you who manage to pass the bonus, which means collect the 70 plus points, you can choose not to come to the final exam. So you still can come if you want to, but you can spend the energy in the bonus and then have a little bit easier time during the exam period. We will use the same CTFD instance as you are used to for the regular assignments. There are 8 stages in total, so it's kind of linked. Solving one stage will open the next one, and so forth. Each stage will give you some flag, so you can track your progress in the CTFD, similar to the regular assignment. It is individually solved, but this year we have all of the assignments individually solved, so there's no change in that.
But let me say something there. It's individually solved. We know that people consult each other. Be careful, we're going to be checking, okay? Individually solved.
Yeah, so all the parts related to the bonus assignment are clearly marked as bonus something in the CTFD. We have a special category, so it's not confused with the normal assignments. And while the bonus is like, you will be still submitting flags in CTFD, so you will have some immediate feedback. Important part of this is that we will also check manually. So for that reason, we need you to make like records of your steps, of things that you find during the assignment and so forth, and put it in the document in Google Doc and share it with us. So we will go and manually check that the progress was correct, that all the steps make sense, and that, well, it's not just like that somebody gave you all the solutions. For that, you might be asking, how does it look? Like, what do we want to know? So if you run any commands, just put the commands there. If you have some output of the commands, like make a screenshot, paste it in the document. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but it needs to be detailed enough so it's possible to follow the track. So if you, for instance, are, I don't know, scanning a network, maybe like put a sentence or two why you do that, what give you the idea to scan that network, what is the goal that you want to achieve by doing that, and so on.
A small comment. Also put the things that didn't work. Sometimes the people seems to magically jump into the solution, and we know they work a lot, and we don't know how. How did you find that? Well, they were working 3 hours trying to find it. So if you do that, say, oh, I tried that command, didn't work. It's fine, right? Actually, that is giving us much more information than the correct one sometimes, and much more fun too.
Yes. If you still are unsure what we are looking for, in the CTFD, there is a new tab, bonus assignment. And if you scroll down, there is a link to an example from 2 years ago with the parts of the report that how we think it should look like. So yeah, you can see that for some inspiration. We have changed that part in the bonus, so it's not giving you any help with the solution, but it can give you idea what we are looking for.
Yeah. So the example report is because the majority of the people get confused and they think like, but I put a screenshot, it's fine. No, you have to explain it, right? So, but the example report is just a baseline. You can definitely do better. This was definitely not like a perfect report, right? So it's just to give you a guideline on how it might look like. So there is no specific format, it's up to you, but you have to explain to us everything, right? Imagine that tomorrow all the servers go down and we only have your report to know what happened. So you have to put everything there. Make sense?
Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much the explanation about the bonus. If you have any questions, now would be the time.
The sharing with our accounts, be sure that you share edit. Okay, edit, not view only, because not only we read the document and we put comments, we check the history. So not view, edit.
Yes. Any questions for the bonus?
Can I add something? Yeah. Also, in one more reason why you would maybe want to take the bonus exam. In the regular exam, you also have to write these reports, but you also have to solve everything, and you have much less time. So, and it takes a while, you know, to write the reports. So.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing it out. One of the questions that usually pops out, so I will answer it preemptively, is if by trying the bonus you lose some of the attempts for the exam. No, it's like not mandatory. You can try it. There's no harm in trying and not finishing it. Also, the exam tends to be quite similar in the concept to the bonus. So if you want to see what the exam might look like, it's a good idea to try that. Yeah. Usually,
but the exam is much shorter and much more pressure in time. So you lose nothing by trying the bonus.
Okay. Any questions, guys? Any confusion about the rules? Of course, you can still ask in Matrix. Of course, it will be a winter break, so maybe our response time will be a little bit shorter than usual, but we will try to answer. Yeah, there's a question there. Yeah, so when you are sharing the document, please add all the accounts that are listed here as editors of the document, not only viewers, because the viewers cannot see the history in the Google Docs. So yes, in here.
When you put us here.
Exactly.
Right?
When you are sharing with the link, you can select
Editor.
if it's only to view or to edit. So please make sure we are editors as well.
And because we are working with technology, remember that systems can go down, right? We do our best because you will be attacking and defending and all the stuff that you saw in class. So the systems might go down and we may solve them, but do not leave the bonus assignment for the last day because we cannot ensure that we will be able to fix everything in the last 2 hours of the bonus assignment, okay? And another thing is that usually people solve stuff and then they go and solve again to report it. And this is, when you go back to try to get the screenshots, it might be too late, the server is down. We will try that not to happen, but it happens, so it's your responsibility when you do the hack to document the hack, right?
Any more questions? Oh, yeah. So in the bonus...
Repeat it.
Yeah, sorry. The question was if there's going to be any theoretical parts of the bonus or just the hacking part. So no, there's not there. This year there are
a little bit.
There are no specific theoretical questions, but in one of the stages you might be asked something related to the also the theory that we covered in the class. Not really like a only theoretical questions, but yeah, there might be a touch of some theoretical knowledge in one of the stages of the bonus. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, basically.
It's not that we don't remember, but we don't remember.
Oh, yeah. Any more questions? Okay.
If there is some deficiency with a report for the bonus assignment, will we have an opportunity to improve it?
Yes, thank you very much.
Exam? I don't know.
So it might happen that when we are checking, there will be something unclear for us, and we will reach out to you and maybe ask for clarification. So maybe there's like a screenshot, and we don't know what does it mean, or why did you take it, or what's the purpose. So we will reach out and ask you. Also, the end of the bonus and the first exam is quite close to each other. We will try to correct, grade everything before the exam, so you know whether you should come or not. Yeah. But there are more terms already in course, as we stated in the beginning of the class. So there's definitely not losing anything by trying bonus and going to the exam.
So regarding the document, we are gonna be checking the document, but there are a lot of you. So if all of you send the last days only, we are gonna do our best, but maybe there is no time for you to do anything more again. So like Condra said, if we have a question about a screenshot or a command, we may comment in the document or something like that, and that's fine. But maybe there are too many things. So we reserve the right to decide if you pass the basics of the exam, right? So this is the decision. Is this student knowing enough that it's okay if he's not coming to the exam? Maybe you did a lot, but we decided that you are not going in the level, so please come to the exam. So try to show us this, okay? If we have questions, we are gonna try to check as soon as possible, but of course, Christmas, New Year, alcohol involved can be a tough one.
Editor? So
we received the email, right?
Yes. The question was how do we get the report? So I think I can say it, right? As a final stage of the bonus, you will submit it as a flag, the URL of the document. So we will get it, but also we get notified whenever we are as editors. So.
No, during.
It's fine either way. We will I don't think we will. I don't think we will jump into the document as soon as you add us as an editor. But basically the CTFD will tell us that you have finished, and then we can go and check.
But let me say that if you add us first or at the beginning, there is a chance that maybe we jump in, see something, or evaluate. If all of you send the URL at the end, even if we don't have time for going and helping you, right? So the sooner, the better. I suggest create the document, share with us, and start the 10 days, 12 days hacking, no problem, right?
Yeah, and we added this new stage in CTFD where you have to submit the URL, because it happened many years that you are sharing with us the document and we don't have anything. It goes to spam or something. So this way we ensure that we see a submission coming from you, that you finish, and then we grab the URL and then we receive it. If for some reason, after all this, you don't hear from us, then there is something wrong, and then you can reach out to us. And I think I have a question.
For the students.
If they have questions about the bonus, can they ask in Matrix?
They can try.
Yes, please, if you have questions, ask in the Matrix, preferably the CTU student channel.
Well, depends if it's a person.
So if it's something general, like, okay, when this is closing, so first of all, check the description. If it's something very specific, like, oh, I have tried steps A, B, C, and D, and it's still not working, we have a personal channels for each of you, so you can reach out there. Basically, the rule of thumb is if you think your question could spoil it for someone else, ask in the personal channel. If it's something general, which you think other students could also benefit from your question, ask in the general one. Any more questions? Okay.
And remember to have fun, people, okay? This is to go and try and laugh, have a beer, some wine.
Before we leave you, please, as usual, give us feedback on the class. As Sebastian said, this is the first year we did the second advanced web tech class, so the feedback is very much valuable for improving. Also, people from the internet, please remember to also fill it up. And with that, if there are no questions.
One more thing for the people in the internet. Yes, this is going to be the last class until January
9th.
the 9th, okay? Between now and January 9th, no more online classes for the internet people, okay?
Yes, and on the last class, we will have,
Including the
we
internet.
are preparing some special content for the last class. So even though the exam period will be starting, I would still suggest to come because we will show you some background information on how the classes run, about the infrastructure, about some statistics.
Is it true that there is a preparation for the last class to be kind of amazing with new things?
Yes.
Is it true? Wow.
Yeah, it's very much true. Okay, so this is it for today. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the winter break. Enjoy the hacking if you do the bonus, and see you in 2025.
Yeah. A Merry Christmas, people. Happy New Year. Vesele Vánoce a hezký nový rok. Feliz Año Nuevo. Ale kostujer. Kalichonie. Strečan Boč. Boržič. Strečan Boržič. I'm not sure. Yeah. Vesele Vánoce a hezký nový rok.